So my name is Demitri Serafimoff, and I'm a representative of the Belgian Freight Forwarders Association, which is now called Forward Belgium instead of CEB, and also representative at the IIFA BREXIT working group and director of the Portmate group, or one of the directors, which is a customs broker in Belgium. So my presentation, you asked me to keep it within the 20 minutes. So I will give you a brief overview about the actions we did and at the Belgium site, and I listed a little bit the most important stakeholders to set up all the arrangements with it. The one, of course, which is not mentioned, but the most important is the industry, the importers and the exporters. But okay, so we had meetings, a good relationship with Belgium Customs, the Belgian ports, the Freight Forwarders Associations. I will also list, because we all talked about solutions, but we still have challenges and a lot and different varia with our, which are some remarks about cases. And I will also try to give you a small overview about how we see and how we will try to deal with the eventual future situation. So customs. So customs, they recruited right now. I checked beginning of this week. They have now 300 extra customs officers in place. The most of them already operational in the ports at the strategic points, and a few of them, or less than half, they are following trainings. What did customs already last year? So they did an operation. They contacted 25,000 Belgian companies who did a VAT listing towards the UK VAT number. So companies which did a transaction, at least one transaction, with a UK-based company. So out of the mailing of 20,000 Belgian companies, only 5,000 responded. And then afterwards, they looked to the major companies and contacted personally another 5,000 to initiate and to start to put some pressure on the case, to start to look for, at least in the beginning, an EORI number to awaken the sector or the industry. So also they put in place some custom simplifications, or they put in place, they were aligned with the needs, the operational, the practical needs, and to set up for the registered loading places, or so in order to give the possibility to do the customs clearances at the premises of the exporters or importers, export or import, of course, the customs declaration, and also to set up, for instance, in Antwerp or Zeebrugge, the transit customs office, so which means to handle in a proper way, in a most adequate way, the transit declarations, which will go through the ports with the final customs office of destination within Ireland or the UK. They have, let's say, customs have a lot of experience at the Swiss border, but in Belgium we don't have a lot of such situations, so that's why they set up a procedure and a system in place. So then also they are working on a circulation plan. Officially it's not finished. I heard several versions, the one more severe than the other one, but they want to keep the port as much as free and to secure and to safeguard, for instance, already the non-Brexit related or impacted flows, and also to prevent the traffic jams created by loads or transporters or trucks which are not okay. So they will do in the surroundings of the port of Zeebrugge, because I'm now speaking for the port of Zeebrugge, which has ferry connections to you and to the UK, and they will do a check if it's okay to give also a color, a green, orange or red. So we are using the three colors, but the green is okay to go through directly to the ferry terminals, or they are destinated for a other terminal than the Brexit related or the RoRo terminals. The orange ones will be, okay, they have a booking, but they are destined for, let's say, cross-dockings within the port area, which there will be declared at the port. For instance, the Belgium or the Brussels loadings going to the port to be stuffed in trailers or containers are allowed to do their export declarations within the port of Zeebrugge, so they have to be available at the cross-dock. So that's why they get the orange one. And the drivers, because they are not helped, they are blocked in Calais, or for instance, they say, okay, we'll try Zeebrugge. They don't have a booking, no reservation, no customs declaration. They will get red, and they will be pushed back out, or they will not be able to enter the port of Zeebrugge. More the details, they are still working on the final versions, because everybody has, or the stakeholders, they all have a little bit their own specific situation. So it's a very, let's say, it's a very difficult exercise, but they are still working on it. So what we have as Belgian ports in place already a few years is in Antwerp, it are the port community systems. So for Zeebrugge and under the, let's say, the Brexit, a possible Brexit, we put in Zeebrugge, or the port of Zeebrugge put in place a port community system which is called RXC port, and in Antwerp we have Nexport. So which means that the declarations, the customs declarations will have to be lodged or registered into the port community systems, and I will explain now. So Zeebrugge RXC port, the purpose is to facilitate, optimize, digitize and secure the customs declarations flows within the port operations. Upon booking and prior to the arrival at Zeebrugge, the customs declarations should be registered within the port community system. This will ensure, and the most important, the ro-ro terminals, a smooth entrance at the ferry terminals, because the situation or their statement right now is no customs declaration for that shipment is not allowed to enter the ro-ro terminals because they don't have that much space. It's the same like at the French side, of course. And also to make sure that the cargo is always customs cleared. And yes, you should make sure, of course, that's what I want to tell you, that everything is customs cleared prior arrival at the ferry terminals or at the port of shipment. So for Antwerp, it's a little bit different, because there the registration of the customs declarations prior shipment are mandatory already for the deep sea, but due to the fact that we are not talking in Antwerp about ferry connections or ferry operators, we are talking about a short sea containerized feeder or short sea operators. They can enter on the terminal without being customs cleared, but of course they have to be compliant upon shipment. So that's the difference with the ferry terminals at Zeebrugge. And I'm sorry, I did a little mistake in my writing. Both port community systems, so will ensure messaging upon arrival to customs. So upon arrival, when you have your MRN lodged, upon arrival, the arrival at exit will be pushed towards customs. They will do their check and they will say, okay. So in the first place, at the moment, it's known in the port community system. The truck will be able to enter on the terminal, to put his trailer on the terminal. Then the terminal, through the PCS, will send the arrival notification to customs. They will do a check and then it's okay and ticketed already or the green light for shipment. The export declarations afterwards, after shipment, it's also the manifest, everything will be sent to customs and all the export declarations will be put in exit confirmations, because we will have much more export declarations to be handled by customs, so it will be automatically electronically linked as well. For the transit, for those which does not have the Zeebrugge or Antwerp as a final port of destination, they will be registered as a transit customs office, and the transits will, which stops in the port of shipment, Zeebrugge or Antwerp, will be closed electronically as well after shipment. Okay. Then Forward Belgium, the Belgium Freight Forwarders Association. I was a little bit too fast. We have in Belgium, we have something which is called National Forum. This is already existing since, I believe, 2 years, 3 years. And it's a platform where the private stakeholders and customs meet each other. Already before the Brexit, all the problems, the practical problems, legal problems, whatever, out of the federations, the professional federations, were discussed in 6 working groups. A 7th was created as soon as the Brexit talks or the referendum was done 2 or 3 years ago already. So we created an extra working group, a Brexit working group, with then 3 sub-working groups. National Forum, so I just explained, is a forum between both parties, and this in order to improve and to solve the problems and the operations. And also organized a lot of seminars, informed the members, and also created the brochures. Now the challenges, I want to attract or to get your attention, the challenges, and you all know probably, but it's incredible to see how many companies are still not busy with the Brexit. So they don't believe it will happen. Nobody knows. I will not take any political steps or decisions or expressions, but they take a lot of risks because upon an eventual Brexit they will not be ready. And it's incredible to see which companies sometimes they don't believe in an eventual Brexit, or they did not do their homework. And most of the companies, they don't have any background. I'm 52. I knew before Brexit, before 93, 1 year and a half, the EC regulations, but thereafter you should have worked within the business for more than 26 years to know that. And also a lack of customs, so knowledge, it's about the same, but also to find the capacity to get people with such a customs knowledge. So also for the industry as well as for the customs brokers or the freight forwarders. Also, we will have to deal with a lot of declarations, so we will need extra and strong IT infrastructure. And also, what I find very difficult is to convince and to obtain all the data from the industry, because they are not aware about what's needed to get customs to perform the customs formalities, export or import. And also to be able to motivate the industry to start the preparations. I'm sorry, I was on before. Then the most of companies, no background, lack of customs knowledge. I did a mistake, it was a copy-paste. The challenges, IT. Okay, I did a split, sorry. Increase, yes, the challenges for our business. Transport companies, freight forwarders, customs agents. In fact, the increase of out-of-pocket expenses. If it's on the mainland or at your end whatsoever, we will be faced with extra import duties, VATs. They won't all get the VAT postponed account or whatsoever, deferment accounts. We have it in place, but instead of 2 million, we will maybe need 20 million. So the financial capacity could be a problem as well for the future. Then another thing we will have to take in mind is direct representation, indirect representation. It only exists since 3 years in Belgium, but in the future we will not be able to perform the customs declarations under the direct representation for UK-based companies which are selling DDP or in the opposite way, because they are not EC member state anymore. So it will have to be done under indirect representation, which gives us, as declarants or brokers or freight forwarders, much more responsibility. Then also about, you can put everything in place, but about the fiscal representations. You have, let's say, to do some business in the UK out of the mainland, you get your UK EORI number, you have the UK VAT representation, but then you will have to declare. So fiscal-wise, VAT-wise, there will be some extra risks as well. And for the VAT registrations, I mean, a lot of traffic or business is based on a DDP because it's delivered, but duties, we don't talk about duties. But in the future, when a Belgian company will try to remain and to put under pressure from his customers to sell a DDP towards the UK, and he will have to import the goods and to deliver it duty paid, then of course, one, we will not be able to do it under the direct representation, and it means that he will not be able as well to get the deferment account. So everything, the fiscal and the financial risks are much bigger than it is right now. And also to find customs agents in countries where you are active. And I don't know, because there are a lot of different interpretations on that and ways of working. But if you have loads on the continent, on the mainland in France, that you have to look for a customs agent in France or in every single country where you are active, because it's not, and it happens that they are cross-bordering, they arrive in a port, and they try to make the export or import declarations in that port. That's not allowed. So an export from France going through Zeebrugge, for instance, and the sales invoice is France to the UK, you are not allowed in the direct sales, not allowed to do it in Belgium, the formalities. So you have to look for a French customs broker to perform the customs formalities on the French side. Then our preparations, how we faced or we tried to organize ourselves. So we started 2 years ago already to contact everybody we know, customers, freight forwarders, whatever, to analyze and to look for what the impact and to have an inventory of all possible current scenarios. What we decided is only to cope with flows which will be able to provide the data via EDI. We are not anymore in the old-fashioned days to look for 50 or 200 declarants to get the extra declarations done. We have systems, we have port community systems. We should look, and I'm not talking about the ones and the twos, how we call them, but for the regular ones, it should be pushed on the EDI way, and the feedback should be done via the EDI as well. For the smaller ones, we created a web portal in which they can provide us with their data, in order that we can optimize the systems or use the systems and to organize the declarations. And also, we are also putting deferment accounts in place on the account of customers, so that it will not impact that much our company, because in the logistics world we are not the bank business, so we have to take care about our cash management as well. So then to complete, so we had a questionnaire, all the detailed about HS codes, because people, like in the Flanders, we have a lot of carpet industry and a lot of smaller SMEs, which has a lot of business with UK, which doesn't have any experience with third country business. So when you're talking about HS codes or binding tariff information, they don't know what it means, so you have to explain and to support them with all those information. Also for export dual use, which is not very easy, it's a difficult part within customs, also to support them and to identify what are we talking about. Then also to put the power of attorneys in place and to get it signed and to explain everything with those customers. It costs a lot of energy and time. Now we are already operational from 6 to 22. We know that will not be sufficient, but flexibility, it will ask for our sector a lot more flexibility. And also, instead of starting up our own business in the UK, we found a partner for which we will be able to provide them with a complete solution on the mainland side as well on the UK side. So that's a bit how we faced what I tried to explain, and the problems or the challenges, how we are thinking to cover as much as possible the Brexit, the eventual Brexit, but for sure the challenges. Thank you for your attention.